making headlines. Sandy Chanda says industrialization lies in the rural areas and not the urban. AFRICA boss predicts Zambians risk going into famine due to dependency on maize production. Chiswa resident in MUVI district demand for clean drinking water. Major street councils troubled couples on issues of marriage. And in sports, Copper Queens warm up with Morocco tests. And now the news in details. Kapalala residents bemoan the lack of cross points in Milenge district of Luapula province. Innocent Cholai businessman says Kapalala crossing point, which is the shortcut to Ndola on the copper belt, has no proper crossing point which leads to people, resulting in crossing using canoes from Milenge to the Democratic Republic of Congo and straight to Ndola, making it difficult for them to conduct business. And Roderick Changwe, a canoe peddler, adds that a lot of people have lost their lives when crossing using canoes and that it becomes very difficult for them when it is very windy and they fail to cross for fear of capsizing. Meanwhile, Kapala Ward Councillor Loveness Walla says once the pontoon is repaired, which has not been functional for many years, or a bridge is put across the Luapula River, it will boost the economy and also help in fostering development. However, Milenge Member of Parliament Chonde Saka says in his talks with government and other stakeholders to repair the pontoon, hence assured Kapala residents that the pontoon will be functional soon.
Known as the only shortcut from Milenge to Ndola district on the Copper Belt, which is only 120 kilometers from Kapalala crossing point, demarcated by Luapula River. Those that cross using the crossing point are always faced with challenges. A businessman who uses this crossing point narrates how difficult it has been for his business due to not having a proper crossing point.
Uyu musebo nga chakutia government ya tuafuye twalipisha musebo kwa kundola wali bani shortcut eni ubulimi bweso twayikala munche ndo mutulali amataba tulali mbalala so nga chali government ya twisiro musebo oyo uchabayize bwangu wankula tola filimu afyesu twetwa Copper Belt business yesu ya picking bwangu pantula kulusaka tula kundola then tulabonfya ma transport kufuma ma distance atali.
Canoe paddlers also explain the challenges they face.
So at least I want to talk with language pontoon isa, language talk bridge. At least you will fetch what she wants to feel Bacastomafilo Quendo Kuntashi.
Pantu Pafua, one tuna, one to man, what you mean, Diriaka, and I thought you want to pontoon. Kapalala
Ward Councillor notes how a bridge or a pontoon would boost the economy once functional.
And this road is very shortest road from Ndola to Mansa. So abantu bakasekera nanga chakwati road ya isuka pakwati that at least nangu batubikira ko bridge pakwati naba pamakasabonse balenda. So if it today for government ide to afuirisha kwa abantu bale idishanya sana.
Milenge Member of Parliament says he has already engaged government and other stakeholders.
We are just trying to amplify if we could then have this pontoon work. We will be engaging government over this, the engines of the two. We are also engaging other stakeholders. I can assure the people of Milenge that not too long from now, that this road will be actualized. And we are pushing because we understand the economic needs of our area and then what it takes to open up this area so that the people would then appreciate whatever government efforts is, government is trying to do. And
the people here in Milenge are expecting that the new Dawn government, together with the area member of parliament, will do something for them in order to have a proper crossing point or maybe repair the pontoon. Helen Chisha reporting for MUVI TV News in Milenge District.
Meanwhile, the Victim Support Unit in Mansa District has bemoaned high cases of child neglect. This came to light yesterday during the commemoration of the Day of an African Child under the theme Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children, where Victim Support Unit representative Wendy Libasi says the district has recorded an increase in child neglect cases, an offense which police would prefer keeping those people locked up rather than being on the streets and failing to perform their solemn duties. And Chief Kalaba of the Oshi-speaking people in Imansa says he has come up with bylaws that prevents parents and guardians from marrying off young girls and that those found wanting should be punished, including head persons from villages where such has happened from. Meanwhile, Dennis Machila, Plan International Luapula Region Manager, says that came to Luapula Province in 2005 has been since working with government and other stakeholders in promoting children's rights, especially the girls.
Day meant to remember the students who rose up for their rights in Soweto, South Africa in 1976, Day of the African Child, which falls on 16th June each year. Plan International in Luapula and other government ministries have joined other parts of the continent in commemorating the Day of an African Child under the theme Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children. Luapula Plan International Regional Manager explains the steps stakeholders are putting in place in improving the welfare of children.
The rights of children, especially girls, are an integral part of Plan International's programming. The child-friendly version of the rights and welfare of children, the chapter that I referred to earlier on, is an important tool for the promotion and protection of good children's rights.
And Chief Kalaba says he has come up with bylaws which prevents parents and guardians from marrying off young girls in his chiefdom. And Victim Support Unit in Mansa has bemoaned high cases of child neglect.
Child neglect mulantu kalamba sana ulechitika muno muchimyezu nangu muno muka constituents. Nishina upato mulantu wa child neglect. Ifwe tulinesa musha kumikata no kumintwala kukoti pamulanduyo deta imama ya bombero mteko ero abana bashara ubuteko buleba lolekesha hapo.
Meanwhile, a pupil at Imbaso Primary School has called on government and other stakeholders to accelerate the implementation of the Agenda 2040.
Children, including education, health and protection. We are calling on government and other actors to accelerate the implementation of the Agenda 2040, so all children grow up well, knowledge and with access to the necessities of life. We also continue calling for the enactment of the Children's Code Bill.
Helen Chisha reporting for MUVI TV News in Mansa District.
Chilanga District Commissioner David Sheleni has urged cooperatives in the district to venture into productive business-oriented activities as opposed to being actively only doing the farmer input support program. The district commissioner challenged cooperative societies in his district to prove that they can feed the nation without relying on inputs from other countries.
Thank His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for fulfilling his promise. When he came to Kafiwe, he assured us and he promised us when he was campaigning to say he's going to look at the issues of NCZ, and we have seen that he has fulfilled his campaign promise. And for us as workers' representatives, we are humbled and we are very happy that he has managed. The contract of 50,000 metric tons, it will go a long way for us as workers. As we have come here, workers in Kafiwe and the community at large, they are jubilating because the youth employment now will be visible. Previously, we've been surviving on a 10,000 metric tons of contract. We were managing to survive. What more, a contract of 50,000 metric tons. It means that it will create more employment for the youths as per campaign promise by His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. From the checklist, the President promised us to say we should be ticking on his checklist. For us as Kafiwe and NCZ in particular, we have ticked the checklist, and he has managed to give.
Livingston District Commissioner Eunice Nawa says government is aware of different challenges that farmers face as they depend entirely on rain-fed crop production. Speaking when she officially opens the Livingston District Agriculture and Commercial Show today, says government has made initiatives to help farmers by upgrading the Farmers Input Support Program to the Agriculture Supports, which will provide a border input supply platform to cater for farmers' needs. She further indicated that works are in place to rehabilitate agricultural infrastructure like feeder roads to ensure farmers are able to move their products and improve their yields. And now we take a break. Stay tuned.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Kigali International Airport.
The world is finally meeting again. As the official carrier and anchor partner for the Commonwealth Business Forum, the Rwanda Air team looks forward to having you on board. Rwanda will be hosting one of the largest gatherings of government and business leaders. During the pandemic, the airline industry was disrupted. At Rwanda Air, we have worked systematically with our business partners to rebuild our network by reconnecting people and businesses. As the official carrier for the Commonwealth Business Forum, we have increased our flight frequencies and introduced special discounts to cater for the demand that the forum is bringing to our country. Together, we will shape a common future for the Commonwealth. See you on board as we continue to connect Africa to the world.
Stands to win 250,000 kwacha each race, plus 100,000 kwacha in our end-of-season draw. 4 to flag. Free to enter. No under 18. Regulated by the Lotteries Board.
The past 2 years have been a time of learning new ways of doing business in a new world, and many businesses are hungry to create new linkages. The Zambia International Trade Fair provides a platform for you to engage with the world, showcase your product, share ideas, learn from others, and get recognized for your innovation. It is also a place to get away and be entertained by various acts. And this year's Back from COVID affair has got bangers lined up. We are not taking this return lightly. The trade fair will be high energy, high performance, high engagement, and high trade. Come on, grab a stand. Let's get back to business and take back the years that COVID has taken.
Place a bet, search on the web, or get the app. 1xBet Bookmaker Company.
Welcome back. Over 35 headmen of Chibozi village in Chief Monzi's chiefdom of Monzi district have successfully undergone a training through the Ministry of Small Scale and Medium Development. In an effort to actualize the Constituency Development Fund, Cooperatives College Training Officer Gemani Piri is hopeful that the training will foster mindset change that will see the headmen view cooperatives as serious business. And Masco Executive Director Malambo Hapende says the activities may foster mindset change that will help develop the rural community, and he hopes that the knowledge shared will trickle down to community and address their development challenges. Community members are not left out behind in terms of access to information, especially on the Constituency Development Fund. The 35 village headmen have been awarded with certificates and for the completion of 3 days training. Residents of Chisowu village in Chief Mwemba Chiefdom have continued living in fear as the result of increased cases of cattle rustling in the area. The villagers spoken to by MUVI TV crew says it is hard for them to be covering 5 to 6 kilometers to have their cattle drink water. Fraser Siamujulu, who is village headman Siankazi in Sinazongwe district, says it is disappointing that after 56 years of independency, people in rural areas are still having challenges with water, hence appealing to the new Dawn administration to consider helping people of Siankazi area. The African Union AU Commission has declared the country ready to host the upcoming 4th Africa Union Media Coordination Summit, scheduled to take place from 14th to 17th July 2022 in Lusaka. Speaking during a media address, AU Inspection Mission Team Leader Ratabe Toteda says the organization is impressed with the works done on the host facility and any shortcomings will be resolved soon. And Minister of Foreign Affairs Stanley Kakubo says the country is grateful to hosting the prestigious event 21 years after it hosted it in 2001. Mr. Kakubo says the hosting of the event will also give the country an opportunity to market its tourism and the general beauty of the country.
From the 14th to the 17th of July 2022 here in Lusaka. The summit will bring together 13 heads of state and government, comprising of 5 heads of state and government forming the Bureau of the Assembly of the AU, and 8 heads of state and government that chair the 8 regional economic communities on our continent. The summit will be preceded by the 41st Ordinary Session of the Executive Council from the 14th to the 15th of July 2022, and it will be attended by foreign ministers of the 51 member states of the 55 of the African Union. The signing of this agreement today shows that we, as Zambia, are ready to receive the delegates from the continent to these important meetings. Therefore, this event is an important undertaking to us as a country, as we haven't hosted one in a long time. In this regard, it is absolutely crucial that Zambia takes advantage of this huge opportunity to promote our beautiful country, our hosting, our own hospitality, and the numerous opportunities, especially in tourism, trade, and investment, amongst other areas. The President of the country, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, remains totally committed to ensuring that Zambia remains an active member of the African Union and a key partner in furthering the continental developmental agenda.
As an assessment team, I want to be frank and honest that we receive a lot of great support from your team. This facilitates a lot of our work. And we are so satisfied. We are so satisfied with the work done so far. I think we'll convey that during our briefing to the PRC next week that Zambia is ready to welcome the continent here in Lusaka. So once again, thank you and
And now our editorial comments news. Stay tuned.
Edition of MUVI Television editorial opinion segment, where we're looking at the beating of the 3 young men alleged of defaming the Republican president. Section 69 of the Penal Code states that, and quote, any person with intent to bring the president into hatred, ridicule, or contempt publishes any defamatory or insulting matter, whether by writing, printing, word of mouth, or in any other manner, is guilty of an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment of a period not exceeding 3 years. Clearly, from the above statement, insulting a sitting president like the 3 gentlemen did have been caught on the wrong side of the law, but bearing in mind that everyone is innocent and should be proven guilty by the courts of law. Back to our topic under the microscope. President Hakainde Hichilema, just like those who left and are yet to come, for as long as this section of the law is not amended, he is expected to be given the sufficient respect to the office of the presidency he holds. It must be put straightforward that Mr. Hichilema found this piece of law and there is nothing he can do until lawmakers push for its amendment. Hence, for now, we are of the view that citizens are advised to take extra caution in the expression of views against the head of state, more so use of insulting words. However, what is of concern is the manner in which the three men were manhandled by the state security, for that matter the military. We are aware that such criminal matters can be ably handled by police officers unless in situations where the army or defense forces can be called upon as a last resort. The question is, did the three young men pose a threat which required the intervention of the defense force? Absolutely no, in our opinion. Further, the manhandling and beating as seen in the footage waters down the preservative of innocent until proven guilty. Hence, we find that the acts of beating the alleged defamers as an act of prejudicial, as no competent court of law in Zambia has convicted them of the said allegations of defamation of the president. We are of the view that inasmuch as the trio might have the allegations leveled against them, there was no need of involving the last option in the name of the army to arrest the accused and subject them to such prejudicial condition as it may backfire in case that they are cleared of the offense of defamation of the president by the court. Finally, citizens must remember that inasmuch as Section 69 of the Penal Code may be described as colonial and a threat to freedom of expression by some section of society, what remains the fact is that for as long as it is yet to be amended, this law is still in full effect and caution must be exercised until the said piece of legislation is changed. We'll see you next time here on MUVI Television editorial segment.
Kanchibia constituency Member of Parliament Sunday Chanda has charged that the future of Zambia's industrialization does not lay with urban areas but the rural areas, which have the prospects of job creation and economic growth. Mr. Chanda since called on government to begin looking at rural areas differently and come up with a model of unlocking them for economic development. He says in doing so, government has to realize access to energy in rural areas as a key component. Mr. Chanda says in particular, Kanchibia district of Muchinga province has a comparative advantage of agriculture but can only be realized and the area is to access electricity. Treatment, Advocacy and Literacy Campaign Talk Programs Manager Clever Chilende revealed that over 1 million Zambians are estimated to be living with HIV and women remain appropriately affected. 60.4% adolescent girls and young women between the age of 0 to 15 have an incidence rate of 0.5% to 0.2% for adolescent boys and young men in the same age group. Speaking in the Media Science Cafe meeting in Lusaka, Mr. Chilende says that despite some achievements made, there is still significant HIV treatment coverage gaps between especially among children, adolescents and young people. He further says governments need to increase allocations for commodity procurement and supply chain systems, strengthening to reduce dependency on external funding.
Remains a major concern on the global health agenda, despite the progress made in reducing incidence and improving access to antiretroviral treatments. Zambia is one of 15 countries in the world that have the highest HIV disease burden. It is for this reason Treatment, Advocacy and Literacy Campaign revealed that in 2021, country operation recorded that over 1.1 million people are on HIV treatment, representing a treatment coverage of 88% based on the current estimates. But despite the achievement made, there are still significant HIV treatment coverage gaps, especially among children, adolescents, young people. Speaking at a Media Science Cafe meeting in Lusaka, Treatment Advocates and Literacy Campaign TAG Programs Manager Clever Chilende also revealed that over 1 million Zambians are estimated to be living with HIV, and women remain disproportionately affected.
In 2021, 1,330,021 Zambians were estimated to be living with HIV. And women remain disproportionately affected, standing at 61.4%. Adolescent girls and young women have an incidence rate of 0.5% compared to 0.2% for adolescent boys. So we can see that the HIV has got a female face. And of the total people estimated to be living with HIV, 90% are estimated to know their HIV status. 88% are on ART and 84% are estimated to be virally suppressed. Civil society feels that the government of the Republic of Zambia must increase allocations for commodity procurement and supply chain system strengthening to reduce dependence on external funding.
He adds that Country Operation Plan 2022 will work on narrowing the gap through quality improvement. Speaking at the same meeting, infectious disease specialist Dr. Paul Zulu has this to say.
For the country right now, we are using two drugs, one called tenofovir, the other is either emtricitabine or lamivudine, which come as a combined tablet, sometimes referred to by the trade name Truvada. And this is a drug that someone has to take on a daily basis as long as they have the exposure. It's one of the key strategies that has shown to work against HIV. As remember, before we used to talk about the A, B, C, and D, right? We know what A is abstinence. I think abstinence has its place in a Christian nation, but we know it has its flaws where it doesn't work and which age groups it doesn't work.
And media communication expert Stanislaus Ngosa encourage journalists to always work professionally and ensure they have facts before publishing their stories.
There is a balance between meeting our deadlines and ensuring that we publish verified stories. As opposed to publish a story today, the following month start apologizing before verification. We want to be the first ones to break the news, the so-called breaking. What does it mean? Today you break the fake story and then tomorrow you apologize because you're being threatened to be taken to court. And that affects the credibility of the institution that you're working for. So credibility, colleagues, is very, very important.
However, monitoring HIV prevalence patterns and trends is important for efficient planning, resource allocation, and informing programs at the global level. Margaret Chota, MUVI TV News in Lusaka.
Northwestern Province Provincial Education Officer Jennifer Banda has commended Kansanshi Mining PLC for supporting the commemoration of this year's National Library Week in the province through the provision of financial support and has described the commemoration a success. Mrs. Banda made the remarks when she officiated at an event to mark the end of the commemoration of the National Library Week in the province under the theme Connect with Your Library held at Solwezi Provincial Library. She says the Ministry of Education in the province is happy and grateful with the good gesture by the mining company of financing the commemoration of the National Library Week in the province with an undisclosed amount of money and various reading materials. A principal presiding local court magistrate in Solwezi has called on married couples facing marital problems to live a life of forgiveness and sacrifice for the sake of their children. Magistrate Gwino Ndumba said this on the Thursday this week when he granted divorce to a couple with one child, which told the court that she doesn't want to stay with the father. Mr. Ndumba advised couples in troubled marriages to seek help from leaders in their churches and pray to God to grant them a spirit of forgiveness and endurance instead of viewing divorce as a solution to their problems. He observed that married couples with children divorce, the children get psychologically affected and fail to do well in their education because of lacking the combined care and love of their parents. Mr. Ndumba said it is important for married couples planning to divorce to think the negative effects of divorce on their children and not to be selfish by prioritizing their desire to separate and get engaged in new relationships. Solwezi local courts, like any other courts in the country, handles at least 2 cases of divorce during court sessions every week, a situation worrying many concerned residents and the clergy in different denominations in the district. And now we take a break. Stay tuned.
How to send and receive money to and from other networks. Step 1. Get some fresh air. Step 2. Say hello to a friend and save his time. Step 3. Bail a bro by sending him money directly on his phone. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Kigali International Airport.
The world is finally meeting again. As the official carrier and anchor partner for the Commonwealth Business Forum, the Rwanda Air team looks forward to having you on board. Rwanda will be hosting one of the largest gatherings of governments and business leaders. During the pandemic, the airline industry was disrupted. At Rwanda Air, we have worked systematically with our business partners to rebuild our network by reconnecting people and businesses. As the official carrier for the Commonwealth Business Forum, we have increased our flight frequencies and introduced special discounts to cater for the demand that the forum is bringing to our country. Together, we will shape a common future for the Commonwealth. See you on board as we continue to connect Africa to the world.
How to send Airtel Money to any Airtel Money wallet across Africa. Step as you send money to any Airtel Money wallet across Africa. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back. A consortium of civil society organizations is seeking cabinet intervention in quickening the repealing of the NGO Act. The consortium says the current NGO Act is a threat with potential to shrink the country's civil society's space. Speaking on an interview of other organizations, Nalucha Ziva called on the Ministry of Justice and the Implementation Ministry, named Community Development and Social Services, to immediately develop a roadmap for the repeal process. And in sports, Zambia women national team deadlines for the 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations will be put to a test when they face tournaments host Morocco in an international friendly this evening. The match will kick at 21 hours Central African time, the Moule Abdallah Sport Complex. The match against Morocco is one of 3 warm-up games on the diary for the Copper Queens side. And coach Bruce Mwape is expected to name a strong side for tonight's assignment as he prepares his side for the WCON that gets underway from July 2nd. Zambia in the Group B alongside Cameroon, Tunisia and Togo. And now that we come to the end of the news, a look at the top stories making headlines once again. Sunday Chanda says industrialization lays in the rural places and not urban. AFRA boss predicts Zambians risk going into famine due to dependency on maize production. Chisol residents in Monzi district demand for clean drinking water. Major Streets counsels troubled couples on issues of marriage. And in sports, Copper Queens warm up with Morocco tests. And now that we come to the end of the news, my name is Tracy Mwansa. Have a pleasant viewing. Stay tuned.
Hello my people, lelo kuwina pa new deal game show ni diviri kipiki na numbers yangati ya bili kubwela kuwina ndama up to 2,000 kwata imwe ni lelo osati day inangu so ngati mufuna kuwinako jailingani star 265 star 13 275 star 5 hash standing at muna 6 quarter or more. Jalingani star 265 star 13 275 star 3 hash standing at muna 4 quarter or more mobile money account yano. Olo Jalingani star 265 star 13 275 star 2 hash standing ngati mulina 3 quarter or more imwe lelo ni diviri madiongo tupasa tabe ma 50 ma 70 ma 100 ma 50 ma 70 ma 100 join the winning team imwe enter the more you enter lelo madrazi ni angati ya bidi up to 2,000 quarter so ikugwira lelo enter the more you enter the more chances you have of winning makwata enter.
The past 2 years have been a time of learning new ways of doing business in a new world, and many businesses are hungry to create new linkages. The Zambia International Trade Fair provides a platform for you to engage with the world, showcase your product, share ideas, learn from others, and get recognized for your innovation. It is also a place to get away and be entertained by various acts. And this year's Back from COVID affair has got bangers lined up. We are not taking this return lightly. The trade fair will be high energy, high performance, high engagement, and high trade. Come on, grab a stand. Let's get back to business and take back the years that COVID has taken.
Place a bet, search on the web, or get the app. OneXBet Bookmaker Company.
How to use your home Airtel Money wallet when traveling across Africa. Step 1. Get used to a new place. Step 2. Learn the language and culture. Step 3. Pay your bills in a foreign country using your home Airtel Money wallet. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Now listen. I want you to bring my favorite juice here. Yes, here at the house pool. Bring it right now. You know my favorite drink. Yes, bring it right now. Yes, you find me here. Okay. These useless workers. That's what I told the auntie. Put me the supervisor. I should be supervising these guys. Supervising Chow Chow properly. Tina, how is your sister? You see, Tina, this is the life I'm living now.